Hey, and welcome back to Gary's Fish Tales. We're going to review some wacky hooks. Why? Because on my channel I do a lot of wacky fishing, and I started using a new hook, and I wanted to do a quick comparison of the two hooks that I use. So my favorite hook right now is the VMC Neko hook. The new hook I'm trying out is the core tackle hook. So the core tackle hook is a straight shank hook again, but it has a built-in sinker on it and a built-in spring holder. I started fishing this last month, and I've done 2 tournaments with it, and that's what's playing behind me, is the tournaments with that. So the first thing I'd like to talk about is price. The core tackle one starts at $7.99 for a pack of 3. That puts you at $2.66 a hook. The VMC hooks go for $5.29 for a 5-pack, and that puts you at $1.05 a hook. So much, much cheaper per hook. So the core tackle ones are way more expensive, but they do come with all the hardware. They come with a retention. Well, it's a spring, but it would replace what you would use in O-ring. And then it comes with a weight. For the VMC hook, I always put a tungsten nail weight in there. I use a 3/16, and I get a pack of 7 from Eagle Claw, the Eagle Claw Patagonia. And on a side note, they're great weights, and they don't look anything like the picture on Tackle Warehouse. They're actually square nail weights, and they've got very, very fine grooves in the square nail weight to make it hold. And they're probably one of the most economical ones you can get. But back to the hook review. You get a pack of those for $4.19 on sale to $4.49, and that works out to like 59 cents or so per nail weight. Then if you add 5 cents for each O-ring, I use 2 O-rings on each Cinco, so that's 10 cents. So a fully rigged one goes to about $1.66, or $2.66 for just the core one. The VMC hook going with a separate nail weight and separate O-rings would be your course. So on that note, let's talk weed guards. So the core tackle it's actually 2 wires wrapped around each other to make one. It's very flexible, and it does its job. And you can bend it into a position further away from the point of the hook if you want. And the VMC has twin fluorocarbon weed guards. The one thing of the VMC I do not like is after a while, and this is going to happen if you're using braid, is just from flipping and skipping and working it. The weed guard on the VMC will loosen up, and it will spin on the shank. Now at that point, I either get a new hook, or I take a couple of minutes and put some crazy glue on it. The core, the amount of time I have fished it, I have not had an issue with this weed guard coming loose. And I fished it for 2 straight days, so I'm going to say it's going to hold because just from past experiences. Weedlessness goes, they're about the same. And there's nothing that's weedless. I've actually lost 2 of these hooks now. My last tournament, I'm not sure if it's the point of the hook getting hung up and I just can't rip it loose, because this is a thick wire hook versus the Neko, which is a fine wire hook. This is a medium wire hook. I wouldn't say it's a thick wire hook. It's a good stout medium wire hook, and it's very hard to bend. When my VMC gets hung up, I can actually, with my 20 or 30 pound braid, almost straighten that hook and get it off the log or whatever I'm stuck on. Take my pliers, straighten it out, throw it back in. I'm good to go. This hook, I lost 2 of these. I could not get them loose. I don't think it was the point of the hook. I mean, it could have been. I think I can straighten this hook with 30-pound test, but not quite sure yet. But I think it's actually the sinker. So the sinker is like a triangle shaped. Now it is angled at the top, and it does deflect if it hits this way. But if there's a V in a tree, now most trees fall away from the bank, so you're coming with the flow of the branches. But when branches are underwater and getting tumbled around, or this gets in between one, and there's a big branch and a tight V, and this gets in there, it's a wedge. And I think that's what got me twice, that it actually wedged itself in there where I could not get it loose, and I did have to break my line twice. So that right there was $5 and change, $5 and 20 something cents change. on 2 hooks. So, you know, that you do that 3 times or, you know, or twice every time you go out. That adds up besides the cost of the Cincos or stick baits or yums or whatever you're throwing. As far as weedlessness, I'm gonna go with the Neko on being more weedless, just because if you get hung up, you have better odds on getting it out because you can actually straighten the hook. Now, if you're fishing this with 8-pound test, you're screwed on both accounts because you're not getting either one out, unless you get lucky. If you're running braid and you're running 20 or definitely 30-pound test, you can get that Neko hook out. And don't get me wrong, I have broken them off too because probably the eye got wedged so into something that it had no choice. I had to break. So, fishability. So when I'm talking fishability, I do a lot of skipping. I skip under branches. I skip under trees, in bushes. The bigger weighted core tackle, it skips, but you have to give it a lot more oomph to make it skip. And it took me a little while to get my target back on because I was so used to throwing that VMC hook. Now they do make this in 2 different sizes. The little sinker on the end of this one would have a lot less tendency to catch up on logs and stuff like that. I have not thrown this one yet. Sorry, I did not have time to fish the lighter weight one, but just common sense would tell you the smaller the sinker on the end here, the less likely it would be to catch up. And also, it would be better for skipping the Cinco. For skippability, I'm going to give it a tie if you go with the smaller weight on the core and just the VMC hook. I just wanted to say that I am not trying to sell anybody these core products or the VMC product. I am just simply stating these are the 2 hooks I've been using. I've been using the VMC forever, and I am trying a new hook out now for mounting the stick bait on here. You have the spring or the spring lock that goes around the shaft of the hook. It is good, but the trocar hook they use is not a curved bend hook. So once that Cinco's on, there's not a lot of room in there. So I screw the Cinco on all the way up, and I actually have a little spring exposed on the bottom. I have not had a fish come off yet. I've only caught 5 or 6 fish on these core hooks so far. I've caught hundreds and hundreds on the VMCs. With the VMC, yes, the whole hook is good to go in the fish's mouth because my bait is actually hanging below it. Now, core tackle does make a hook with the spring below it, but it is not weedless. It's a short shank hook, which I don't like short shank hooks. That's my preference. I don't want to argue online for that. And and it did have the spring on the end. I just wasn't sure about it when I saw it, and I didn't pick them up, A, because it didn't have a weed guard, and I was just a little amble. When these came out, I said, I'm going to try these. Both of them are very, very good hooks. Both of them will be in my arsenal. I will continue to use the core for now. Again, the only thing that might stop me using these are the price. So hey, thank you very much. I hope you got a little bit out of the differences of these hooks and the way they perform and the prices and everything else. Make your own decision on what you want to buy based on your style of fishing and what you can afford. So until next time, take care and tight lines.